Hey, my name is Brandon. I am the creator of the idea for Gray Politics, and I had created some social media accounts to go ahead and maybe get the idea and concepts out there before actually starting the podcast itself. And what ended up happening is, even though I had 15 followers, I had a post that all of a sudden got over triple digit likes, and a New Zealander by the name of LC_music, quick shout out there, thank you, um, actually commented asking for the link to the podcast because they wanted to hear some of the things I was interested in and what I was about. And that was much, much faster than I expected. I expected this to be something I would be at for a couple months before I got that kind of interest or intrigue. So I tip my hat to you, LC_music. Thank you for being interested. It's something concept that kind of took me off guard for it to happen that fast. But that being said, I wanted to lay down this first video as to what Gray Politics is and is about and what the general rules for it are. So it's called Gray Politics because I believe our society has moved to a point where it's pretty much all black and white. You hear things all the time, or you see merchandise or advertisement or whatever, stuff like, if you support Trump or you're a Trump supporter, then you're racist. These two things are not the same. You can be pro-Trump over Hillary and still not support the things that he was saying or doing. I don't understand why that was a hard concept for us to figure out. Now, in reality, I don't think it was. I think what it is our media at this point. It's a capitalistic company and country. So they're going to do what's needed for them to get the clicks, the views, or the marketing dollars, if we're completely honest, is what it really comes down to. Now, that having been said, I don't care if you hear something here. If you hear something on Fox News, CNN, it really doesn't matter. Any educated person, if you hear something that sounds interesting, always need to fact check. I could be sitting here and listing off the best statistics ever heard to make all of my points 100% of the time. But if you don't double check it yourself, you don't know for sure. Now, I would never actually do that. I'm just kind of making the point. And this is something that happens regularly on all ends of the spectrum of politics. So I feel like most people in all reality are actually more in the middle, kind of like I am, and not this far right or left that you always see on advertised or propagated. That being said, then what I want to do is have it where people can sit down and have an actual conversation, talk things out, have opposing points of view, but doing so with the explicit intent of trying to expand themselves, their knowledge base, their view, everything. Because personally, I'm going to come into every discussion looking for the flip side. I want to have my mind changed. If there is something that can help enlighten me or make me see the proper way, then as a human being, that's what I want. And I feel like that should be how all of us are when discussing things that are this touchy, we'll call it. That having been said, there are some basic rules. Rule 1, no name calling. Seems straightforward. We're talking kindergarten levels here, but as adults, we all have issues with it. Now, and I am aware that saying somebody is stupid and somebody's idea is stupid are two different things. However, can you point out a scenario for me in which saying your idea seems stupid to me, or ignorant, or whatever word you want to put in there, does more than inflame the other person? And that's not the point of this. So things like that, go ahead and just don't even worry about it. Rule number 2, no interrupting. If somebody says something and you're just like, oh, I'm going to crush them, you can't just jump in. Pen and paper, write it down. These amazing little things that we almost all have in cell phones, take a note of it. And then as soon as they're done talking, light them up. But if you interrupt them to try to make your point, then it just leads to people trying to talk over each other, and it's not fun for anybody involved at that point, honestly. And pretty much at that point, minds get shut, and you're not having a productive conversation anymore either. So that's rule 2. Rule 3, no Hitler. Seems like a weird one to say, but this isn't going to be like the House and Senate. They constantly bring up and make comparisons to Hitler, and the only reason this is done is for shock value, and that's not what we're about. Now, making a comparison to a system or policy as to one that was in place in Germany in the mid 30s, early 30s, that's a different story. Then you're talking about a systematic issue that we're facing in our country that we have examples of from history, and we don't want to repeat that. Now that's legit, but no Hitler. In that same vein, you're not allowed to make a point on the back of dead bodies. I don't care who you are. I don't care what political party you reside with. It's not okay. And this is kind of a ambiguous comment. So just to try to give an example, I think it'd be the best way to clarify it for everybody. An example would be the horrible thing that took place in Pittsburgh just a couple days ago. An example would be on gun control, stating something like, if you don't believe in better gun control, then you're either okay or condone what happened in Pittsburgh. Those two things are not the same. It's flawed logic. A does not equal B, therefore it cannot equal C if you like your geometry. Don't do it. So those are the 4 basic rules. Other than that, it's just going to be have a good conversation. Let's see what kind of opinions we can change or eyebrows we can raise. I look forward to seeing you more then. Have a great rest of your day.